Committee. The public proceedings will take place live on the internet and the meeting. It will assist the conduct of business if participants speak only when invited, and I shall adjourn the meeting if necessary if protocol is not observed. Members of the public are welcome to view the proceedings but should not make contributions during the decision-making process. All members of the committee have received the reports in advance and had the opportunity to read them, and the reports are published on the internet. Additional documents, known as the pre-committee notes, are available on the Council's internet site and have been emailed to the members and public speakers. These should be read in conjunction with the main agenda documents, and they're fully taken into account before decisions are made. Applications will be dealt with in the order they appear on the agenda. I will invite applicants, agents and public speakers who have registered to speak at the appropriate time. All speakers must ensure that they do not overrun their 3-minute time limit, and there will be no questioning by the committee of objectors, supporters, applicants, agents, and they will not be able to speak again. All participants should mute their microphone and video feed when they are not speaking. Please remember to unmute your microphone and switch on your video feed when you speak clearly and slowly into your microphone. The chat function on Microsoft Teams should only be used by members of the committee and officers, as this is to assist me with the conduct of the meeting. Members of the public should not use this function in any capacity. This is being monitored and has a full audit trail. Anyone found to be using this function will be removed from the meeting. The officers will present the report if there are registered speakers, and the registered speakers will be invited to make representations one at a time. Members of the committee will be asked if they want to speak on the application. If there are no registered speakers on an application, the officers will be asked if they have anything further to add. Members of the committee will be asked if they want to speak on the application or if it is to be moved straight to a decision. The committee will then be invited to make a decision on each individual application. When a matter is put to a formal vote, I will ask each member of the committee individually to record their vote, either for, against or abstain. Finally, I ask for everyone's patience with this use of technology. I apologise in advance if we experience any unforeseen difficulties, which we will try to resolve expediently. When the item on which you have contributed is concluded, you may leave the meeting by using the red hang up button if you wish. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Yes, Chair, we've received apologies from Councillor Cowell.
Thank you, Karen. And are there any substitutes?
Yes, Chair. Councillor Foster will be subbing for Councillor Cowell.
Thank you. And are there any declarations of interest under the Members' Code of Conduct? Take that as none. And can I confirm and sign the minutes of the meeting held on the 18th of November 2020 as a correct record?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. So moving on to the plans and applications to develop and going into planning application number P200448. I'll hand that over to the officers.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, and good evening, members. The planning application in front of you, P200448 at former industrial site St Peter's Road in Dudley. And this application is seeking approval for the demolition of the existing buildings on the site and the erection of 33 residential units. This application is a full consent and would look to provide a mix of 1, 2, 3 and 4-bed houses, as well as 1 and 2-bed flats. The application is brought forward on behalf of a housing association and will look to provide 100% affordable rented units. This slide in front of you shows the application site here bound in red. The application site, as mentioned, is a vacant trading estate. To the north is Canal Side, which is located here. I hope you can see my cursor, which is a pedestrian and cycle towpath that connects St Peter's Road to the east and Northfield Road to the southwest, just here. So it links the two. This slide shows you an aerial photograph of the site, which is just this triangular part here, and shows the Dudley Canal to the north of the site. Canal Side runs adjacent to the Dudley Canal, and properties within Moorville Road sit beyond the canal, just located here. These properties have their rear gardens abutting the canal, and the wider area itself has a mix of house types and designs. Following the first round of neighbour consultation, 12 objections were received to the proposals from the neighbouring occupiers. Amended plans were sought and requested, which looked to address some of the concerns outlined by residents and consultees. These concerns included the reduction in the height of the apartment block, as well as considerably reducing its length. Paragraph 36 of the officer report outlines the amendments in detail. Following receipt of these amended plans, a second round of consultation was undertaken and 3 objections were received. I'll just go through the photographs of the surrounding area to give members some context. This photograph shows you the application site and St Peter's Road. The next slide has the application site on the right-hand side and is taken from St Peter's Road and shows the relationship with the properties to the east, again, all within St Peter's Road. This slide shows the application site on the left-hand side here, shows the canal immediately in front of you, and then the properties on the right-hand side are within Moorville Road. You can see their back gardens abut the canal. This is a view taken from canal side itself. Application site is on the right beyond the concrete panelled fence, and again the properties within Moorville Road on the left-hand side beyond the canal. This is a view looking directly into the application site, again from canal side. This slide will show you the properties on Northfield Road which have been recently constructed. The application site itself sits beyond these properties, beyond their rear gardens. And this is a view of the street scene along St Peter's Road itself, the application site here on the left-hand side. And the final slide is the application site itself, again from St Peter's Road, and the properties within Moorville Road beyond in the distance. Officers are recommending approval of this proposed scheme. There are no objections from the Highways Engineer or the Environmental Safety and Health team. It is not considered that there are any detrimental loss of privacy, overlooking or overshadowing to neighbouring properties or occupiers surrounding the application site. There is appropriate separation distances between and existing dwellings. However, could members please be aware of photographs that have been provided by one of the occupiers of the residence in Moorville Road. These are within the pre-committee notes, and she would very much like you to take these into consideration, please, before a decision is made. In terms of design, form and layout, that is now proposed as part of the amended scheme is considered to be acceptable. Properties front canal side, and this ensures natural surveillance, but they also address St Peter's Road. The proposed internal road would be constructed to an adoptable standard. Given all of this, officers are requesting authority to grant planning permission this evening, with the ability to add, amend or remove conditions as necessary, as well as enter into a legal Section 106 agreement. This agreement would secure affordable housing across the site, but it is to be noted that no financial contribution towards education is going to be requested. Since the drafting of the officer report, the conclusions of the viability appraisal have been received, and it's been concluded that whilst the provision of affordable units can be provided on the site, it is not financially viable for the scheme to make a financial contribution towards education. Further and fuller details of this have been provided to members in the pre-committee note. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Helen. Can I call on the first speaker of the evening for this application, Michelle Brown, please?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I've submitted the photos that are in the minutes that were forwarded out to everybody. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to see them all yet. Whilst I agree that that land does need developing, and I've got no objections to residential dwellings being put on there, I'm most concerned, and my neighbours are, that where the flats are, it's going to take away a lot of our privacy. If you can see from the photos, it's going to be overlooking our house, and we've got no privacy whatsoever downstairs in the garden or upstairs. So that's what my main objection to the flats being built on this land are. I don't know if there's any consideration will be taken for not building the flats and to put houses there instead, because that way at least you're not having your privacy taken away, because you're not going to have someone on the first floor constantly looking out over your housing. That's all I've got to say, really. It's just like to take into consideration. Or if there weren't the 2-storey, if there weren't the 3-storey flats with the second floor in the loft, if they would look to be just 2-storey, like the ground floor and the first floor. Or if they were going to build the flats, is there anything that it could put like established trees on the eye line where the first floor units are going to be? Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Can I now call on the second speaker, Mr. Horton, please?
Hello.
Hello, ready when you are.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Members of the committee, my name is Jeremy Horton and I'm a planning consultant instructed by the applicant. The application seeks full planning permission for the demolition of existing buildings and the erection of 33 residential units, masonette apartments and houses with access, landscaping and associated works. The proposal will deliver an all-affordable housing development to be managed by Black Country Housing, decontamination of the existing site should it need it, and landscaping. The application site is considered brownfield, containing a number of existing industrial buildings. The site is sustainable with good access to services and public transport. Dudley Council has previously granted outline planning permission for a residential development on this site in June 2020. We therefore consider that the principle of residential development on this site has already been accepted by officers and the committee. Therefore, the proposal is acceptable in this regard. Officers and the applicant have worked closely to develop an acceptable design and layout, which has resulted in the following: active frontages along pedestrian routes and the canal, dual aspect dwellings and splayed units, which are principal rooms overlooking street elevations, separation distances between new and existing dwellings exceeding the 22 metres required by the new housing SPD, particularly in respect to dwellings on Moorville Road, where separation is some 36 metres between elevations and circa 22 metres between the application site and existing rear gardens, and then a further 26 metres to those dwellings on St. Peter's Road. A smaller block of apartments has been added to the site, reducing its height from 3 stories to 2.5 stories to address concerns. Adequate plot sizes are provided for all new plots. Architectural features, including contrasting featured brickwork and the use of render, are provided on dwellings. Off-street parking is provided throughout the proposal, and a mix of dwelling types for a range of people and families is also provided. All of the technical considerations have been addressed, and there are no outstanding objections from statutory consultees. Finally, it is important to consider whether the application represents sustainable development in accordance with paragraph 8 of the NPPF. In this regard, the proposal will support employment and create new jobs during the construction phase. In the long term, the local economy will be strengthened by new occupants supporting local businesses. The proposals provide much needed affordable housing, reflecting the aims of local and national policy, and it will also provide a high quality living environment.
Time, Chair.
Thank you. Helen, would you like to come back on any of those points raised?
Yes, please, through you, Chair, just to raise a couple of points in terms of separation distances related to the first public speaker. Paragraph 31 of the Officer report details the issue of privacy. And just to reiterate what the second public speaker said, that there is adequate separation distance. In fact, it's in excess of the minimum requirements that we'd be looking for between 2.5 to 3 storey properties and neighbouring residential units. It's in excess of our maximum standard, which is 31. And just to come back on the point about the trees, because of the siting of the proposed block quite close to the boundary, it would be unlikely that tree planting would be viable there. One, in order for them to grow to adequate height, but also they would be likely subject to future pressure for removal from the people who were living in the flats because they would be so close. And I think that was all the points I wanted to raise, other than to say that obviously there are flats associated with the proposed development, but it is quite a low density scheme overall. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Helen. So I'll open it up to the committee. Does any members of the committee wish to? Councillor Taylor, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I know this area very well. I live in Northfield Road, and we have a similar estate built in Northfield Road, which is, if you look on the map, where this is there, the other side of the bridge. Follow the canal along. There's a similar site there. I understand where these people in Northfield Road, I understand their concerns, but the lesser of two evils is for it to stay as it is. And I think for the greater looking at the scheme, it is going to be better than what we've got now. The houses in Morville Road have in the past not needed to screen the back of the houses, but maybe just fencing at the back of the houses will give them the privacy that they need. So, you know, that's something for them to look at. For myself, I welcome this because I think that the state of this this land now is just making the whole area look bad. And this new development, I welcome the new development for my ward. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Are there any other members who wish to make a comment or seek advice? No? So I will move formally to the vote then. So starting at Councillor Ahmed.
Chair,
Councillor
Councillor.
not in attendance, Chair.
Oh, he's not. I thought it was just Councillor Cowell.
No, he hasn't submitted his apologies, but he hasn't connected. Also, Councillor Hanif joined the meeting after the start of this item, so he's unable to vote.
Okay, thank you, Karen. So I'll go to Councillor Neil.
I vote to approve, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
I moved to, yeah, I approve, Chair, but it was difficult to get on this tonight, so that might
Councillor
be why
Burster.
Councillor Neef hasn't been able to get on.
Yeah, I approve it, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley.
Approved, Chair.
Councillor Foster.
Apologies, Chair, approve.
And Councillor Harley.
Yes, I approve.
So the application has been approved. So moving on to the next application on the agenda, P201324. Helen, if you'd like to come in, please.
Thank you, Chair. Application P201324, 90/21 Market Street, Stourbridge. This application looks for a change of use from a hairdresser's into a beer shop and bar. This application is before committee this evening as Councillor Steve Clark is the applicant. There are no objections to the proposed development from neighbouring occupiers or from the consultees. This is considered to be an appropriate town centre use and a use that will bring a currently vacant unit back into active use. I'll just show you some photos of the site. This is an aerial photograph showing the location of the site within Market Street. It's within the main commercial area of Stourbridge. A location plan shows the red line of the application site itself. This is the building from the front. As you can see, it occupies 2 units and it would take up the whole of the building, ground floor, first floor and second floor. This is opposite the application site within Market Street itself, looking down towards the Rye Market. And a view from the centre of Market Street down towards the Rye Market with the application property here on the left-hand side. Officers are recommending approval of this change of use, but we are also seeking delegated authority to add or amend conditions if possible, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. As there's no speakers on this application, I'll open it up to the committee. Has any of the members got any questions they wish to ask? Councillor Taylor.
Yes, I can't see. I've tried to read through this to see. Is it just the ground floor that is being made, wants to be made into a craft beer shop and bar? What is happening to the second floor and the third floor? Because you said it's the whole building. So can you just explain to me, perhaps I'm not reading it right, is it the whole building that's being transferred into 3 separate areas, or is it just the ground floor? Please, will you just clarify?
No problem, Councillor Taylor. Through you, Chair. Yes, the change of use applies to the whole building. So it will be the ground floor, first floor and second floor that would be subject to the change of use and associated with the beer shop and the proposed bar that would sit alongside that. So yes, Councillor Taylor, it is the whole building.
Can I come back, Chair? So will the whole building be accessible to the public or just the ground floor? I'm just trying to clarify, sorry.
Of course, yeah, not a problem. As far as we're aware, it will be the whole building. Elements of it will obviously function as the bar area. The rest will function as the beer shop, which will be a place where you can go and enter and just purchase beer as well as using it as a bar. So yes, the whole building will be accessible.
Thank you.
Councillor Neil.
Yes, Chair, through you. There's no objections been raised here, and I think we're voting to approve subject to conditions as suggested. I think we should approve it.
Thank you, Councillor Neil. Councillor Hanif.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Just like to ask Helen if this will be open during the sort of standard town centre opening, or does it run into the very late hours of the night, the bar function, etc.? Because there is one around the corner, and I'm just conscious of previous problems in Stourbridge, with antisocial behaviour. Should it lead to that? I don't know. So just conscious of opening times and how it will fit in with the rest of the town centre. Helen?
If you look at the proposal within the agenda, Councillor Hanif, it does state that the application form indicate proposed opening hours of 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. and on a Monday and Saturday 11 a.m. till 10 p.m.
Okay, that's great.
Sundays and bank holidays.
Yeah. Okay, answered. Thank you.
No problem. Are there anybody else, any other questions that would like to be asked? No, so going straight to the vote then. Councillor Hanif.
I approve, Chair.
Councillor Harley.
Yes, I approve.
Councillor Neal.
I also vote to approve, Chair.
Councillor Taylor.
Yes, I approve, Chair.
Councillor Burston.
I approve, Chair.
Councillor Foster.
I approve, Chair.
Councillor Bradley.
I approve, Chair.
So planning application P201324 has been approved. Moving on to the next application of the evening, P201434. Helen, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Planning application P21434, Green Park, Watson's Green Road in Dudley. And this application seeks retrospective approval for the relocation of an existing storage container. Again, this application is before committee as the applicant is Councillor Walthrow, who is a member of the Friends of this park. The container has been relocated in an aim to reduce the amount of security issues that they had with it in its previous location. The new location is considered to be safer. I'll just show members some photos. So this is the aerial view of the park, and you can see here this area is a multi-use games area. The container has been moved from the area noted with the red arrow to the area noted with the blue arrow. It's less screened, more open, and has a lot more natural surveillance, so it's considered to be a safer location. So this shows the container in its current location. Bear in mind this is retrospective, so this is the new location. It has already been moved. Again, looking across the car park, and the fence is around the multi-use games area. You can just see the container in the distance. And there it is, a little bit closer to the park, close to the multi-use games area, and close to the lighting, not screened by the building. So preferred location in terms of security. So officers are recommending approval, subject to conditions which do relate to a temporary consent. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Helen. Do any of the members wish to make any comment or ask any questions before we go to the vote? Councillor Taylor.
Yes, I went to review this earlier on today, and it makes more sense where it's been moved to. It is a matter of security. There's a lot of money being spent on that park, and the last thing we need is for more damage, you know, or the possibility of more damage. It makes sense where it's been moved to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. So I will move straight to the vote. So Councillor Bradley.
Approved, Chair.
Councillor Burston.
I approve, Chair.
Councillor Hanif.
I approve, Chair.
Councillor Harley.
Yes, I approve.
Councillor Neal.
I also approve, Chair.
Councillor Taylor.
Yes, I approve, Chair.
And Councillor Foster.
Approved.
So application P201434 has been approved. So moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is planning service fees for 2021, pages 41 to 77. Does anybody wish? Sorry.
Chair, can I just come in, please?
Is it regarding the item?
It is.
Yeah. So if anybody does wish to make any comment regarding this item, then please show the hand icon. Councillor Bradley.
Yeah, sorry about this, Chair.
It's all right.
I've just got to make a non-pecuniary interest due to the fact that I work in trade and as an electrician just for this item. Thank you, Chair.
That's noted. Thank you. So do any of the members of the committee wish to make any comment regarding the fees, planning service fees for 2021. And are you all happy to note?
Chair, Councillor
Yeah.
Taylor's indicated
Sorry,
to
apologies,
speak.
Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. I take it that all of these fees are in. We are in. We've looked at our neighbouring authorities, and these are, you know, in line with what they've done. If that's the case, then, you know, I think that we should approve them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. So if everybody's happy, I'll just quickly go around if everybody's happy to note those. Councillor Hall. Yeah.
Sorry, Chair. May I come in? Sorry about that. Just a point to make on this. Obviously, in terms of Councillor Taylor's comment, yes, there's a variety of fees in here. So there are either some of them are statutory fees that are set nationally, like planning fees. Some of them are our regular fees. We've made very few, if any, changes to fees from this year, from last year. We bring them to you now because we need to implement them before January 2021. So there's no significant changes. If there had been, obviously I would have presented them to you. So it's pretty standard, just to give you some comfort. And just, Chair, just to make the point that there's a mix in the recommendations of things to endorse and things to approve. So things like the LDO charging, obviously we haven't made any change to that fee, but it just needs formal approval. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Councillor Taylor.
Sorry, was that me? I missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I approve, Chair.
Councillor Bradley.
Approved, Chair.
Councillor Burston.
Approved, Chair.
Councillor Hanif.
Yeah, I also approve, Chair.
Councillor Harley.
Yes, approve.
Councillor Neil.
Yes, Chair, I approve as well.
And Councillor Foster.
Approved, Chair.
So they have been approved. And moving on to the final item on the agenda, to consider any questions from members to the Chair where 2 clear days notice have been given to the monitoring officer.
None, Chair.
Thank you, Karen. So here ends this evening's meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank
you,
you.
Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair.
Enjoy the rest of your